Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is actually a two-part tutorial. One is on these brows and how to use brow stencils. I've got a variety of them and I'm going to show you guys. The second part of the video is on the eyeshadow look that I did to go with these brows. So it's kind of a two-part. I do want to keep this intro super short because I know this is going to be a long video since I'm combining these two together. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to use different types of brow stencils. I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills ones, which looks like this. I have the Benefit brow stencils that came in this soft and natural brow kit. And then I have these ones from Amazon, which you guys will see me use all of them, and then you guys will see me fill in my brows and how I do that and which products I use to do that, which order I do that, and all of that. So if you guys want to see all of that, then just keep watching. If you're new here, welcome to the video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren Jade. I'm 57. I have mature, crepey, wrinkly skin with hooded eyes that are slightly downturned, so I'm always doing things a little bit differently here on my channel. So yeah, if you guys are new, hit the subscribe button. I would love for you guys to join me and hit the notification bell. That way YouTube notifies you each and every time I upload. And let's just get right into this tutorial. Alright guys, so I have already went ahead and done my face makeup, and the eyeshadow tutorial portion is right after this brow section. So I was going to originally make two videos yesterday and decided to put them together into one. So I am going to show you guys how I fill in my brows and my brow routine using a combination of brow products. I use gels, creams, and pomades. I also use a pencil, and I also use powders. I'm going to show you guys the order and just kind of how I work with all three of them together, because as you can see, I have nothing. If you guys have followed me on my Instagram and even on here, you guys know about my skin cancer surgeries and how this wonky brow, so I decided to cut it off, and that's when I realized I needed help. I needed stencils, I realized, because I cannot, because this one is lower and this one is higher. This one needs to be filled up higher up here. This one needs to go lower down here. And it's just really super hard to try to get them both exactly even. So that's where the stencils come in. I have the Anastasia stencils, and I'm gonna show you guys how each one of these works. And then we have the Benefit stencils that I got in when I got this little brow kit. Usually the stencils come in sometimes when they make these brow kits. I know they have several different variations of these. And then these ones from Amazon. So I'm going to clip my hair back and we're going to get started. Alright, so first things first, I feel like it's important to kind of have an idea of alignment and positioning, where the brows should start, where the arch should be, and where it should end. I feel like you should have a pretty good idea of those points on your face prior to kind of using stencils. So let's start with where the brow should start. So we're going to line this pencil up with the nostril. Go right in alignment, and I'm going to make a little mark right here. And then for the highest point of the arch, we're going to line this up with kind of like almost like the tip of the nose, and we're going to take it right diagonal right across the center of the iris. So right here. Make a little point right there. And then on the end, we're going to line it up with the end of the nostril, and it's going to hit with the corner of the eye. And right here. So now that I have these little markings on my face, kind of have an idea. So this is the highest point of the arch, and we got the start and the end. This eye as well. Now, both of my eyes are not exactly even in terms of these brows are not even, so it's very, very hard for me to use individual stencils that are separate as opposed to like one piece because of that, but we're going to get into that. So the first one we're going to look at is the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is what the packaging looks like, and you get 5 of these stencils. You get a full arch, a high arch, a medium arch, a slim arch, and a petite arch. So the idea is once you have your markings, then you go in and you find which one of these fits you. So I know that all of these don't work except for the petite arch. Now I have a couple of issues with these and why I don't prefer these, and I'll get into those in a little bit. But with this petite arch, the idea now is you line this up. Now these have markings on them. I'm going to show you guys. So you can see the the line going up and down, and then you can see a diagonal line here that goes to the highest point of the arch, and then you can see another little dashed line that's supposed to line up with the tail of the brow. So you hold this up. First of all, you line this with the first marking that you made, the up and down. You align that with that, and then you position your brow in there. And then where you made your center marking should line up with this marking on this. So once you have that lined up, then the marking should line up the tail. Everything should line up. If it doesn't and you have to make adjustments, that's why there's this little piece right in here. Let me grab the bigger one. So you can see, I'm going to grab the, let's take the full arch because this is nice and big. So there's a little plastic piece in the center, so it's not all open all the way through. You can see you can only go half, and that is because if you needed to adjust and just do the first half and then adjust the alignment so that this lines up with the highest point of the arch, then you can move it and do just the bottom half. But again, either way, this is a very full on brow. The other issue that I have with these is that it's a very skinny brow. And even though the petite one is the one that works for me, I don't know if you can see how skinny it is, and I want a little bit more fullness, so this didn't work. Also, having to hold this up and getting in here and working is also very cumbersome, and it's awkward and it's hard. I mean, it's not awkward and it's hard, it's just uncomfortable because you're trying to, you know, draw and then you've got to hold this. So it's just, you know, it's just whatever your personal preference is. The other thing that you can do with this is you can take a pencil and you can just outline, or you can hold it, outline, and draw in and fill in at the same time. So you have a couple of different options when using these, but basically this is one, and then you would flip it over and use the reverse side for the other eye. So that is the Anastasia Beverly Hills, and these retail for $20. You get them on Beautylish. I guess you can pretty much get them anywhere or on their website. All right, so next up, we're going to do the Benefit. All right, so next up is this Benefit stencil. It comes, now I got this in this kit here. This is the Soft and Natural Brow Kit. A lot of times these stencils come in those type of kits. So what you get is you get these little plastic pieces, and then you get this little holder. You got 2 looks on here, look 1 and 2 for arched brows, and then you have 2 looks for straight brows, and they come in these little plastic things, and then you put this inside of this little holder here. And the idea is to hold this, and this is where the markings come in to play. So I'm going to line this up with the first marking that I made, and I don't know if the camera, if you can see, but this is aligned exactly perfect where I measured it. You can see this line lines up to here perfect. So that means that when I did my measuring, that I measured this ideal. So the way this works is, and this is very hard to hold, by the way, so I'm just going to pop this out. Now, this is not the most comfortable thing on my face. I mean, it's not comfortable in terms of like holding it here because you can feel this plastic. It's kind of pointy, so it's not my preferred method either. And again, you can do one of 2 things. You can draw an outline from front to back and then just kind of skirt this down a little bit and then kind of continue to fill in, or you can place this at the top of the brow. You can do your outline, and then you can just move it down to the bottom end of your brow and then do another outline and then just, you know, fill in. So those are the 2 different ways that you can do with this. That's when I realized that a single stencil was not going to work. So here comes these Amazon ones that I got. As soon as I got these, like literally when I ordered these, I automatically knew that these were going to work. It's strange. I just knew it. These were $7.99, and once my Amazon review went live, which was super positive. The price jumped to $9.99. Still a good deal, but very sneaky Amazon. And also, by the way, when I did get these, I knew that both of these were not going to work for me because I knew that this was going to be too big in terms of like the size, and they were going to be kind of long and skinny and just kind of harder to maneuver and work with, simply because here you can see I only have a half of a brow, and you can also see that, you know, this one is lower than this one. So because of that, I knew that neither of these were going to work, but I wanted to get these for the sake of the video. So now we're going to go on to these, and then we're going to fill in the brows. I have a variety of brow products that I'm going to show you guys how I use each one of these brow products to fill in my brows. I have a good selection of the Benefit brow products. I keep them all in this Desi kit right here. So I'm going to show you guys. There's some waxes and pomades and some pencils and powders I'm going to show you guys. And then I'm going to show you guys this Wonder Brow, how I use that and what this is actually like. And then I have the Anastasia. I'm going to show you guys this Dip Brow. So I have a variety of products, and we are going to fill in the brow. All right, so let's talk about this stencil and why this is good for me. You get 24 of these in here, but there's actually, I think, 2 of each one, so it's actually 12 different styles. So I kind of separated these into piles of which ones I liked for style-wise, which was going to work for me, and which ones would not. Now for me, because my eyebrow is situated the way that it is, and I feel like my eyebrows are high enough as it is, I feel like I already have a lot of space between my lash line and my brow. I don't need any more space. I don't want any more space. So my issue is that I wanted to kind of fill in below the line. So when I was looking and measuring these, I was looking at which ones were going to give me the most coverage on the lower portion, because some of them, when you put this on and you align it up, some of them have, you know, less coverage on the bottom and more up on top. So that was what I did with this. So I absolutely love that concept. I also love the fact that these are hands-free and that they kind of have a ruler measurement to them, so that if when you're lining up, you have exactly straight across, so you know that once you have them lined up, you're going to have a lot more symmetry. These also come with, to be hands-free, they come with this plastic thing, and you basically just put this inside this little hole right here, and then attach the other one, and then this goes back behind your head. And these are also stretchable, by the way, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just tape this up. So I have one here that I have used that I actually really like. So we're going to go ahead and use this one, and I'm going to line this up. And I am placing this right at the top of this brow, since this one is the highest. That's the one that I want the alignment. And now I'm going to go ahead and tape. I'm using, all right, I just prefer the tape. I don't know, I just don't want to stretch this plastic. I just don't want to mess with that. And I just feel like with this, I have it nicely, firmly positioned, and I don't know, I have no issue with this. I actually like this tape. I like having this guide here. If you would not want to work like this, you could just use these little strings that it comes with, and you could just draw this outline, remove the stencil, and just fill in. So I'm going to start with a brow pencil. I'm going to use the Anastasia Brow Wiz, but I also have the Precisely My Brow pencil from Benefit, and I have the Goof Proof. I feel like this one is good if you have fuller brows, just because of how it's shaped, but it does allow you to fill in, and then you can also turn it to the side and use the points and kind of help with like the arch. So this is good. I feel like if you have some brows to work with, the Precisely My Brow pencil is a very similar to the Anastasia Brow Wiz, being that it's a very thin little pencil and really good for little hairline strokes. So I'm just going to start with my Brow Wiz, and on the other end here has a spoolie. And like I said, I like to use a mixture of products. So we're going to kind of go through all of them, but I always start out with a pencil. And right at the very beginning, I like to just do little hairline strokes. I'm going to lightly push this in right here and hold right here so I can create little hairline strokes. All right, so again, I like to use the pencil in the very front of the brow because I feel like it gives me softer little hairline strokes, and it's a softer appearance in the front that I like, and then a little bit more depth and dimension as I get towards the middle of the brow in the end. Once I remove these stencils, I always go in and use, you know, a concealer type or a highlighting pencil, and I'll show you guys how I do that to kind of clean up. And I also go back in and kind of retouch. You know, I might make the arch a little bit higher, or I might, you know, just kind of put the more hairline strokes kind of going up in the front, but I always make those adjustments once I remove this. All right, so next up, I'm going to use the Dubrow, and I'm in the shade 2. And this comes in, this is the little mini one, and it flips over, and then you have your little angled brush. And I'm going to take a tiny bit, I use little jojoba oils for literally like everything. I'm just gonna take a tiny little drop and place it on the back of my hands, because these pomades can get kind of drying. So I feel like when you do this, it really kind of makes them a little bit more creamy and easier to use. So a little bit goes a long way, but I'm going to grab a little bit of this, and I'm not going to mix this into the oil, but I'm just going to make a little puddle on the back of my hand. I like to warm up the product first on the back of the hand, and then as I'm using it, if it does get dry, then I kind of just go over here to the oil and pick up a little bit and mix. But you definitely don't want to mix it in with the oil. You just want to kind of grab a little bit of it if it starts to get drying, because that does happen. These dry out real fast. So I went ahead and attached this back on now. And now I'm going to create little hairline strokes with this pomade. I also have the Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade, and I do the exact same ritual with that. All right. The key here is to find the right pressure when you're doing the little flicks. And in order to create more depth and dimension, I like to do some a little bit harder and some a little bit lighter, so that there's some, you know, dimension there. I don't do them all the same. So I'm gonna start, I'm gonna hold here and just flick. All right, then I also like to kind of go in and kind of soften this product out just a little bit with the spoolie. Kind of helps to distribute it and just kind of softens it basically. All right, I'm going to show you guys this Dubrow. So when I use this Dubrow, I will use it sometimes in conjunction with the pomade. It's a very kind of, it comes in like a, almost like a lip gloss kind of an applicator. And I feel like this is a really good product because it's almost kind of like colored like gel, like glue almost. I don't know, it just works really good, I think, if you already have full brows, but because it's almost kind of like a gel like consistency that kind of dries to a paste, and it's supposed to be like a waterproof and stay on for days. I don't know, I've never tested that, but I can tell you when I have used it, it is smudge proof, and you know, coconut oil is good to remove it because just soap and water, it's not gonna. So that, as far as that, it does, product does what it says it's gonna do. So I like to pick up a little bit with a angled liner brush and just kind of create the little hairline strokes the same as if I were using the pomade. And I will use this mainly where I have the hairs, just because of the fact that it does have that consistency in terms of like how it like just molds to the hairs. It's almost kind of like a really strong, thick brow gel. But I feel like this kind of applicator, again, would be good if you had a lot of bushy brows, and you could just like run that applicator right through the brow. But if you don't have anything, then that's not going to work. So I feel like this is the better option. So I'm just going to put this in here and just run a few little strokes kind of in here. All right, so that's that. I wanted to show you guys that product here. I'm going to just throw in. All right, now we're going to move on to powders. I'm going to grab. All right, next up, I'm going to use some powders. I don't like to do too much pomade kind of right at first. I just like to do a few hairline strokes and then kind of try to smooth it out a little bit. I feel like if you use too much or you don't have a lot of hairs to work with, it can look kind of unnatural and muddy. So I try not to get too much in there kind of right off the bat. I will kind of go in and kind of touch up and fill these in later. I also don't like to mix too many different types of products because then it can be a really muddy mess. So when I do use the different types of products, I like to use them light. That allows me to kind of intermix. So I'm going to use these browsing, and I'm going to grab the powder from this. This is a colored wax, and I'm in the shade 2. I think they have different packaging now. This is an old one. I'm just going to dip my brush into this wax, and then I'm going to, and with this, you can just do the wax flicks first, and then you can go in with the powder, or you can put a little bit of the wax on your brush and grab a little bit of the powder, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to fill this in. Mainly where I have little gaps from the pomade. I'm always working with this spoolie and softening out the edges of the product. It really does help to soften. I feel like if you are going to mix, you know, gels and powders and pomades and pencils and just kind of use a mixture of them, you want to make sure that you're not using them on top of each other, and that you're not using them, you know, like, well, on top of each other, but not like you're filling solid in with one and then you're going in and you're putting one on top of the other type of situation. So I do have a few, I can see that I have a few little sparse areas here, and that's kind of what I want. I'm not going for the solid Instagram block type of a look. I am going to grab this Smashbox, and this is the Shape Matters. And I really like this. You get a wax and you get 2 brow products, and then you also have some regular powders and a bronzer and a contour and some eyeshadows in this kit. So I'm going to take this pencil, this brush that it came with, and I'm going to grab this bone color shade, and I'm going to just sweep over the brow. This kind of gives a soft, kind of a fullness to it, but it also kind of lets me see where there's little sparse areas. And then I will go in with the angled brush, and I will usually grab a little bit of these powders. You have one lighter one and one darker one, and just kind of lightly, softly kind of fill in. Once you start working with the powders though, it's kind of you really don't want to go back then and put the pomade on top of the powder. So if you're going to start, I would recommend starting with the pomade, so you can do the hairline strokes, and then if you're going to kind of fill in any sparse areas, that's where these powders come in. Because once you start building product on top of product, it can get to be kind of a muddy mess. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and remove this tape, and we're going to use the, I'm going to actually show you guys 2 different products I've got here. This is the highbrow. This is the one that came with the Desi set. It's kind of a pinky, nudie beige color. It's beautiful. It's really light and bright. We're going to clean up and sculpt around this brow and really get that alignment going. And then I got this one from Anastasia. This is a creamy beige shade, and I've got a couple different brush options, you can use like a flat definer brush, really kind of get in there and carve out that line. You can also use a concealer brush, whatever works for you. I'm going to go ahead and remove this tape. And then once I get this off, that's when I kind of go in and do those little hairline strokes at the beginning and just kind of touch up the alignment, because I like to have the brows kind of start at a certain area so that it lines up with the eyeshadow technique that I always do. And you guys will see that when you watch the eyeshadow technique at the right after this video. You'll see how I align my inner corner shading with the alignment of the brow, and why having a nice defined brow really kind of helps with the eyeshadow look that I do. All right, so I'm gonna get this off here, and this paper tape is so incredibly smooth that it just glides off like this smooth paper tape. So this is what we have now. Now is when I go in, and I'm just gonna use my Clé de Peau concealer, and I will usually line this. I take it not butt up next to the brow. I take it up. I take it sparingly on this one up high, but down here I take it down a ways, so not right up next to it, so that I can inch and pull up. That way I don't get that really harsh line. And then I'm gonna go in and adjust these and make sure that they're even, and if I need to adjust a little bit on the tail, or if I need to brush up a little bit more up here in the front, put in a few more hairline strokes, I can do that. And if I need to clean up the bottom, if it's not exactly, if one is a little thicker than the other, this is kind of where this kind of comes in. Really gives you that nice clean chiseled finish. I'm gonna brush this down, push this up. Just making sure, I think it's a little thicker on this side. I'm gonna just clean this up. And the other thing that I like to do is take a picture of this, because a lot of times you can't see. It might look even, but once you take a selfie and you take a picture, then you can go in and do your final little touches. And the other thing is, when you do the tail, because these are very thin, sometimes it's really hard to get a pencil in there and work in there. So you need to go in and just kind of adjust the tail. And you can, all right, so I feel like this looks pretty good. This is about, you know, they're never going to be twins. They're never going to be sisters. I'm hoping for first cousins, because they used to be like fifth cousin removed from another brother or something, or sister. I mean, it was like, so I feel like this is good. I mean, you can sit there and go back and forth and back and forth. It does help to take a picture of it, because then you can kind of make sure you got the alignment. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set these now with some brow gel. I have the Anastasia one. I also have Model in a Bottle, which I like. It comes with like a nail polish type of applicator, and then you also get a spoolie, so you can interchange those. I'm just going to grab this Anastasia brow gel right here. I also have the Benefit. I'm just using it very sparingly here. All right, guys, that's it. Now, that completes this. Make sure you watch the eyeshadow tutorial, because you'll see how I align when I do my eyeshadow looks and techniques, and how I like to align my style with my brows. You guys will see that come into play. And no brow tutorial would be complete without talking about microblading. So let me just show you guys super quickly. If you are considering microblading, you really want to make sure you investigate who does the work. Take a look at this. I'm hoping this shows up. This is a very scary. This person obviously has mature, crepey, wrinkly skin like I do. And you can see there's a lot of discoloration over time, just how it went from what it looked like to, which by the way, I don't think the before looked good, but the after math looks really bad. So if you are considering microblading, just really do your research. Investigate, see the work of people done, you know, before, so you know what you're getting into, because this is becoming so popular in the last few years. So many people are running, you know, just to, I mean, people are getting trained and they're literally like being let loose, you know, on the streets to do this type of work in just a matter of a few days training. And you don't want to get the black electrical tape look, you know, the blocky Instagram style. So just do your research if you're going to consider microblading. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I wanted to say about that. And I guess that's it. That completes this part of the tutorial. And if you guys want to see the eyeshadow look that I created with the brows, then keep on watching this video. I love you guys. I will see you in my next one. Bye.